What's up, YouTube? Today I'm talking about Superman and DC. But what I'm not going to talk about is Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, because that's just a whole nother 10 minutes I'd like to cover on something else. I'd love to talk about Joaquin Phoenix, but again, another video. This video, let's talk about Superman. Ben Affleck, I'm just going to throw it out there. This is old news, this is last week news. He's out, for sure. Superman, let me straighten something out about Henry Cavill right now. It's not that he's done and he's exited Superman and they're recasting him or anything. They just can't negotiate what they want to do with him. Warner Bros. Says, we want you in a cameo in Shazam. Henry Cavill says, what happened in the 5-movie plan that Zack Snyder had for me? Warner Bros. Says, I don't see how we can reach a middle here, because we don't have a 5-movie plan for you. That was his plan, we have a different plan. End of story. No contract for the future movies. Last I heard, last year, about Man of Steel 2, they had a script in the works. Now no word has been said on that. So here we are, back to ground zero. The thing is, Justice League failed, right? Even though it made some money back, the reception was bad. They had this whole plan with Henry Cavill. They had a plan with The Flash and Aquaman. Right now, we all know the only movies they're moving forward with, and it's the ones that were confirmed last year, which was Aquaman, Shazam. Wonder Woman 2 was, of course, thrown in on a whim because of the success of Wonder Woman. But I want to, keep us talking about Henry Cavill, because that's the big news right now. It's unfortunate. Henry Cavill and Ben Affleck as Batman and Henry Cavill as Superman, those two were pretty much spearheading the whole franchise for DC. And now those two are, well, one is out for sure, and then the other ones, they have nothing crazy scheduled for him. That's nuts. I mean, here's the thing. When you look at Marvel Studios, right, they have the lead person for the entire franchise, which is Iron Man. Superman is supposed to be that guy, kind of, right? I mean, he's the strongest one in the group. It only makes sense. But they're just going to backtrack. And here's the thing. I doubted that big time. I said, oh God, those two are out. Everything's going to fail. This isn't going to go well. I gave them like 3 years at best. They're just going to have to go back to kicking rocks with whatever else they have going with their small budgeted movies. The thing is, the way they're targeting it is different. So there's a new boss structure in DC, right? So for those of you who don't know, Jeff Johns, who was the previous DC president, was the one who was in charge of all the things in DC for years and years and years. And that's no longer the case, because not even a few months ago. Now here's what happened. Here's what went wrong. Reception first started going bad, then box office revenue started going bad. They first outed Zack Snyder. Now they outed the bosses who said yes to Zack Snyder's films, which was Batman vs Superman, Justice League, and then of course you got Suicide Squad. The thing is, DC has a big issue right now with studio interference on the creative side of things. See why they're shelling out hundreds of millions of dollars into all these movies, busting out tentpole blockbusters that everyone has to move together in a unison convoy to make it work. So what's happening is that what's behind the screens, it's messing up what's happening in front of the screens. And so we get Batman vs Superman, Suicide Squad, and so forth. Suicide Squad was a huge timing issue. It became, wait a minute, that's not what we want. I know David Ayer, hired to write and direct Suicide Squad, not failed because he was bad at writing. He failed because the studio interfered with his work, making him rewrite and shoot just weeks after he rewrote a whole script. Take a look at how the first trailer was different from the rest of the trailers that we got before we saw the movie. Something changed. It was midway studio interference. Of course, David Ayer took the hit, but the bosses were the ones who ultimately became responsible for the backlash and the hurt. So, Jeff Johns was obviously at the top of that poll. The president of DC is no longer that president. Last I heard, he was penning the script for Green Lantern. I don't know if that's still current. But right now, they have a new boss, Walter Hamada. And obviously that means a whole new team of executives. And Walter Hamada has expressed one of the biggest issues that she's felt that needs to be changed is establishing release dates for movies that they want to release too early. Too early meaning before they have the cast, before they have time frames, before they know what the budget is, and so forth. Now, that's obviously what happened with Justice League. That's what happened with Batman vs. Superman. So that's what's happening with these movies that's coming out right now. These meaning, in December we got Aquaman, right? Then we got Shazam, Wonder Woman 2, and so forth. These movies, they were planned from the previous studio bosses that were already in development when Walter Hamada came in, which means she couldn't take that back anymore. Justice League became studio interference because it was established too early. So this is what we got. We got, they say 16, maybe even 19 DC movies in development. None of them confirmed except Birds of Prey. They pushed back The Flash. They will not confirm his release date. I think that's cool. But it also shows that they're having a hard time regain a jump. So they had to lower down their budgets for these movies. We can see that trend coming now. From what the studio bosses have planned with these big budget movies with Shazam, Aquaman, Wonder Woman, the studio bosses planned before Walter Hamada, the new DC president, the previous president, Jeff Johns, that slate has to be finished, ending with Wonder Woman 2 next year. And you can already see under the leadership of the new president, Walter Hamada, they're lowering down that budget, the budget for their DC movies to characters who have a good fan base, like Joaquin Phoenix, who's already a well-known star, plus as the Joker, under Martin Scorsese and Bradley Cooper's production. So they're looking to solidify solid reports. Now they're starting that with Birds of Prey and the Joker origin movie. Those are the first two on the slate under her wing. So I'm looking forward to the next slate of movies that they have confirmed for sure in the near future, I hope. But I guess it might be too early. I mean, 2019 is already set. They're trying to keep up with, I can see that they're trying to keep up with 3 movies a year. But it depends on what happens next year. I feel like if next year doesn't work out for one of their movies, Shazam, Joker origin movie, then what's going to happen is they're going to dumb it down to 2 movies a year, maybe even 1. And that's okay. But that just shows that they know that they have to back up. And the president of Warner Bros. Has admitted that they can do better. So that will be less pressure on the creatives and more room for them to breathe and to make what we want to see and not what they believe that they think we want to see. I mean, they felt that they would think that we want to see a Justice League already. So they did it. In a sense, they did it for us, even though it was, obviously furthering their own agenda, right? For money and whatnot. But you can't really just do something like that. That we all saw how that just backfired on them. It's just not how it works. Now they're feeling that. Now I think that if they're going to lower their budgets and keep it at 3 movies a year to do that versus lowering the 3 movies to just 1 movie a year with 1 tentpole budget, I don't know. If we could dumb it down to 1 movie a year, we get a Cyborg solo movie. There's a word on the street about Cyborg is that it's going to come up to like over $200 million because of all the CGI. I might be interested in that. If they really commit everything to one movie a year, that could be really good. Take a look at Aquaman, for example. That's getting a lot of attention right now. I think it's going to establish a lot of fans out there. I think in China, it's going to score. I mean, think about it. The whole trailer recently was all action, or a big portion of it was action. It wasn't really, because the trailer wasn't really made just for us. It was mostly made for China. China, they want action. They want to see more of that fun stuff. So that's what they're marketing to right now. Trying to balance between both, you know? And I think that's a good idea. So if they're to dedicate all resources like they are with Aquaman to just one movie a year, that's a big tentpole person. I think that could be just as valuable, but it probably just doesn't sell as good to stockholders and whatnot, and big time and millionaire investors that are putting forth their own out of their pocket money into these movies. So that's all I have to say, guys, about Henry Cavill. To sum up real quick about him, by the way, I hope he comes back around. I hope that the studio interference backs up and realizes that they need him. And please leave a comment in the section below and tell me what you think, and please subscribe to my channel.